Hi, Andy. Really nice to speak with you today. And so I'm just curious, could you tell me, about why it's worth your precious time? You're a busy professor, you do a lot of blogging. Why would somebody want to use their time to be active online and blogging? What's the point?
Good question. A lot of people ask me that, and I think that there are a lot of professors who do blog and are active on social media, but not so many of them.
Hmm.
I think I get a lot out of it. So one is just cool stuff. I find some really interesting ideas. Um, I enjoy. There's certain people who I enjoy reading, certain posts that happen to catch my eye. So I actually do. I think it's a great way to get information. So that's one reason. I also have actually met some people online, which I know when I sometimes tell people this, they kind of look at me like strange, like you met them online. But but I have, and in fact, I've actually written three. I think all my co-authors on Harvard Business Review have been through meeting people online,
Uh-huh.
um, and I haven't met any of them in person. And the way they caught my eye was really through the content that they created.
Mm.
So I see what they're doing. In one case, there's a woman who I've just co-authored a couple of blogs with, and they haven't come out yet. But and I sort of have followed her online. I've seen the stuff that she posts. I find it interesting, clever, unique.
Mhm.
I can tell that she's a good writer, and so at some point I just sort of kind of asked her a couple of questions and then invited her to co-author with me. So it's kind of like you can get some really good evidence about someone from watching how they post, what they say, what they blog about, and so yeah, I found some really, I found it really interesting.
Yeah, that's great. And so you post on Harvard Business Review, right?
Um, yeah, pretty much exclusively now.
Hmm.
Although I've started to post on LinkedIn as well, um, but mostly on Harvard Business Review in terms of blogging. And then
Hmm.
I'll try to. I have a Facebook site also for my book Global Dexterity that I sometimes repost things on, or I'll post various other things on there, and then Twitter, of course, too. So I guess Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook are my three kind of go-to sites.
Sure. Yeah, those are where I'm pretty active as well. And actually, we met online. We haven't ever met in
Sure.
person too. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great. So any advice you might want to offer somebody that if they're thinking, oh, I'd love to be invited to write on a more notable publication like Harvard Business Review or Huffington Post, what kind of advice would you offer to somebody?
My advice is to do your own thing first.
Mm,
To start your blog, to start your posting, and then if you want to try to that's how you catch the eye of people, frankly.
mm,
And so that's what's happened to me. A couple of people have caught my eye and asked them to co-author, and I suspect that's happened with other people as well. So
mm,
I think really do a great job of your own thing and promoting it well and I think I guess it's probably a cliche, but just create really interesting content. And a lot of people who aren't familiar with social media think it's all superficial, but I think it's anything but superficial. I
mm,
think that the content wins the day, in my view.
mm.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I really like what you said there. I think, authenticity, it really can come out in your articles. And I think,
Yeah.
a good article from my perspective is when it's written with strong interest or your passions and when you're being authentic. And I think that shines through whether, when it's online, it doesn't reduce it. It actually gives a really nice forum. Would you have a couple points that you could say about what makes for good content in your view?
I think interesting insights, storytelling, but the combination of storytelling plus interesting insights.
Mm,
I think that checklists and top tens and things like that are fine, but I think that to really stand out, it's a combination of sort of insights plus storytelling,
mm-hmm,
and to me, and also good writing. I
mm,
think that really really would distinguishes you. And I think that nowadays anyone can publish anything. So, there's not a tremendous amount of quality control on the internet. So I think that you can stand out from really having high quality as well. I also think that it's important to realize that even though the social media is the world of instantaneous reactions and quick likes and sharing and posting, and that you should also take the longer term view that anything you post is going to be there forever, or for a while, or indefinitely, let's say.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you're going to take the time to post something, don't think only in terms of the immediate feedback you're going to get, but also think in terms of its longevity, and so really work on quality, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And another question that comes to mind, you're a professor, you've written books, I'm sure you've written many, scholarly articles, dissertation. For people in that kind of demographic, and then switching to write in a blogging voice, what kind of way do you help yourself to make that environmental change with your writing tone?
It's funny. I think I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because I think for me it's the opposite problem. I think my natural voice is my voice in my book, my Global Dexterity book, my blogs, my all that stuff. That's my natural voice. But when I have to write for academics, I have to kind of code switch, and it's just not my. I think I'm more authentic in the way that I write for social media, and also in my book, and so I think that I think ultimately though you want to think to yourself, like, you're joining a conversation, so like what's the language, so to speak, that people are using in that conversation? And so in academics it's a different language, right, for that audience. But for me personally, my natural voice is this.
Yeah, great. And I think actually through blogging, it has helped me to find my voice in writing. It's a really great environment to experiment and to see what comes out. So
yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Andy. Really appreciate your time today, and look forward to being in contact online, and maybe, who knows, someday offline.
Sure. Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Vanessa.
Thank you.